For those of you that have programmed in AutoHotKey uh, at one point or another, there's been an occasion where you've had the need to have AutoHotKey write to some destination using a hotkey or some other means. That seems to work well enough, but the word is that if you have a large chunk of of text that you want to have written to the destination, that it's more efficient if you plug all that data into the clipboard and then position the cursor where the destination is and hit a Control V to transfer the data. The problem is if you have multiple lines, you've got to format the end of each line with a control character for a new line, or maybe a double control character set new line, so that physically when it hits the destination it's formatted correctly, where one line is beneath the other, not tacked on to the end of it. This stringing it all so it looks like every sentence is tacked on to the back of the previous one is messy, hard to read, impossible to edit. So looking around for something better, or at least different, I ran across this. And that is, in this case, we'll hit F1, we'll capture what's in the clipboard already and hang on to it, and we'll do a clipboard : equals, and this will be the first line. We still have to mess with these control characters, but we don't have to have this line 2 starting right at this point at the back of line 1. We can do another clipboard, and if you notice, instead of a : equals, we have a dot equals. That will append line 2. And we got to do the formatting. And then line 3 and the formatting. And here we go with the Control V. Wait a little bit so that it takes care of itself, and then replace whatever was in the clipboard. And there you go. So in order, what that looks like is, if we hit F1 over here, it's what you would expect. These new line broke it here and added a space, and the same here and the same here. Works out fine, but it's still kind of messy. So what I found was yet another way, which I think is a little bit better. So let's take a look at that. That is, start off the same way. F2, save the clipboard, go into a clipboard : equals, but in this case we use parentheses, format, parentheses, quote, one more parentheses, and here you're free to be creative. Line 1, line 2, line 3, you can do whatever the heck you want, make paragraphs, whatever, and when you're finished with your multiple line mess of stuff, you close it out by this parentheses counters that one, or this one I guess it is, and then quote, quote, and closing parentheses, and this is the same. Control V, sleep a little bit, replace what was previously in it. To take a look at what that looks like, pretty much the same. But when you are entering in data, this is much more readable because you don't have all this strung out stuff. Now, this is a static clipboard, which means you type in what you want it to say and that's it. There are times that you may need this to be a bit dynamic, which means, let's say that this area is a report of some sort, and you've defined, prior to ever hitting the F key, some variables which contain information that needs to be embedded into this report, which physically lives in the clipboard. And that's what we're going to touch on next. It looks like this. This is the first variable. It's just a number. And apparently you don't need quotes around just a number. This is a string of text. Second variable. Alright, and then looks like this. Same F key beginning, save the clipboard, a clipboard, :equals, and this same format, same beginning we had in the previous one, only here's your first line, and that's a spot right here where the first variable is going to get dropped inside the curly braces. Second line is a bunch of text, and at this point on the keyboard I just hit the tab 3 times, so I don't have to do a curly brace tab close curly brace. I just use the keyboard, which is pretty okay. Third line, this is part of the canned information in the clipboard, and here's my placeholder for the third variable, which is all of this information here. And here, closing parentheses, quote, comma, first variable name from up here, second variable, which is all this stuff, and the rest is the same as it was before. Let's see what it looks like. Just what you would expect. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. I can see where I can make use of both the static clipboard approach as well as the dynamic one. How about mentioning what you think about that in the comments below? I always enjoy reading those. So be creative. And if you can't think of anything to say, answer this question. Did you know what the number 42 stood for prior to reading this? I think not. Have a good one. Talk to you later.